All right, welcome everyone to this week's very special, exquisite, and truly exclusive NIM community call. People still say that this is one of the most prestigious and high-rolling events in the world. We have to agree; it is truly exquisite, and you barely see anything like this on the planet. And that's partly because of the lineup that we bring to you guys. So actually today we have someone very exciting from something very exciting. We have Squirrel from Zcash, the ZecHub Community Foundation. Am I saying that right?
Just ZecHub.
ZecHub. All right. We'll like disambiguate these down the line. It's lovely to
Yeah.
have you. It's super exciting. This has been brewing for quite some time, and really excited to finally have you on. Of course, I also have with me Theo, who you probably already know, one of the major NIM OGs. So if you don't know him, then what have you been doing all of these past years? And myself, of course, I'm Sudo, aka Simon. I'm a head of community at NIM, one of your hosts for these lovely community calls, and yeah, so this is the 3rd of April. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into it. But before that, I'm gonna go through the usual housekeeping items. Big thanks for everyone for joining us today. It's lovely to hang out. And as usual, we're going to be keeping a close eye on the YouTube and Twitch live chats, which you can ask your questions in. But also, if you don't want to log in with your YouTube account and don't want to compromise your privacy that way, you can also leave your questions in the NIM Matrix server on the general chat. We're keeping an eye there as well. And at the end, we're going to be doing a Q&A. And if your question is very relevant to what we're talking about at the time, then I'm going to grab it right away and address it with a beautiful guest and co-host. Now, with all of that said,
Hey
let's
guys.
jump straight in. Do you want to introduce
Yeah.
yourself and ZecHub and Zcash?
Yeah, I'm Squirrel. I'm a core team member on ZecHub. And so ZecHub is an educational hub for the shielded ecosystem. Take one earphone out. So the shielded ecosystem consists of Zcash and Penumbra and Namada, and essentially any project which uses a shielded pool. And we can get into what those are in a second. So we're funded by the Zcash Foundation to produce educational material around Zcash and privacy technology. Yeah, that's kind of the core idea. What we do is host a bounty program, and so we invite contributors from all across the world to help us in creating graphic designs, web development on our website, and creating other websites and services, and producing video tutorials, things like that.
Nice.
So that's ZecHub.
Okay, cool. Where does
That's
that?
a-
How
that's
does it coordinate somehow with the electric coin company, or like because when I think of Zcash, I think of you had Zcash Foundation, electric coin company, and then ZecHub. So how does that all fit together?
Yeah, so we're a separate organization.
Mhm.
Zcash has several organizations. So there's the ECC, like you said, Zcash Foundation, there's ZecHub, and more recently there's Shielded Labs, which is developing the hybrid proof of work, proof of stake cross-link protocol for Zcash. And so we're all independent, but we all coordinate with each other as friends.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, it's just like a typical first question, but what's one of the biggest challenges trying to get people to use Zcash? Like, what's one of the biggest things? I mean, I see it. There's been a lot of discussion lately. How do we get people to use privacy and kind of give up convenience? There because most people just choose convenience, the easy way, right? And maybe
Yeah.
even with Zcash, they don't tick shielded. Maybe they just go the easy way sometime, or they don't think about it. Maybe. So
Right.
what have you guys in your experience so far? What kind of things have you seen, and like what things have maybe worked?
Right. Okay. So, great question. My first, the thing I thought of first is essentially wallets. Which wallets are people using the most, and is Zcash available on those wallets? So, I guess the most widely used wallets these days, you could say, like Phantom or MetaMask, or other popular wallets, Kepler perhaps, Zcash isn't available yet on those. As of yesterday, Zcash or shielded Zcash is available on Brave Wallet. So, like, if you have Brave Wallet, you can use shielded Zcash now. And I think having shielded Zcash available on those other multi-currency or multi-asset wallets is a step towards like addressing those challenges. So I think wallets is a big one. The way Zcash works itself can also present some like challenges for people who are unfamiliar with it. So a primary example of this is the fact that when you're using Zcash to spend your funds, you need to sync your wallet. It's a completely new experience for anyone who's never used Zcash. Like if you use a like Bitcoin or Litecoin or something, you open your wallet and you're able to spend your funds immediately. With Zcash, you need to wait until it's fully synchronized before you're able to spend your funds. This is actually a privacy feature, which I could get into later on, but yeah, those are the two main things I'd
That's
say.
good. That's cool. Well, actually, I mean, that's not totally true. I mean, it's a little bit more old school. People are just not used to syncing wallets. You know, like I mean, like the old Bitcoin Core,
Full
the
nodes.
old Bitcoin wallet. You know, of course, you have to sync that, and like a lot of the in the different waves we've had in the past when there was no MetaMask, for example, or MetaMask was really new, or a lot of new coins would be launching, and oftentimes they were not SPV wallets, which for people that don't know, those are like the simple wallet you use that syncs very fastly or you don't even notice most of the time. So yeah, okay. So it's a feature, not a bug. That's a good way to frame it for marketing too.
Yeah. So the actual process, I don't want to get too nerdy too quickly, but
Sure.
it's called trial decryption. And so we have full nodes, and we have light wallet servers, and we have wallets. And so the full nodes pass the block data to the light wallet servers, and the light wallet servers serve compact blocks to the wallets, right? So how do you make it so that the light wallet servers, who are independent network infrastructure providers, how do you make it so they don't know which blocks or which transactions within which blocks are for you? And the answer is you receive everything. So the light wallet servers give you all of the compact blocks, and within your wallet, so within your device, you're picking out the transaction. And yeah, that's how we protect users from malicious infrastructure providers.
Okay, cool. Well, I definitely, I can see that that's big. Congrats on the having it integrated into Brave. That's a big deal. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. That's definitely one step, making it real easy for people in these multi-currency wallets like Phantom, Brave, MetaMask, et cetera, and even more seem to be popping up. And a lot of everyday users, that's what they use. And some people, that's all they know of crypto in general. So to get there, I guess that's just like another step, having another app, another wallet for a lot of people, that maybe us on the call or even some of the people in the community, for them, it's no big deal. But for a lot of people, it is a big deal to have to go through this friction of downloading another wallet and another step like that even if they know it will be more private.
Right. Yeah. Another seed phrase to keep secure. So the good news is shielded Zcash will soon be available on MetaMask. I think the next steps on that project are really just the final audit, and then it will be available as a MetaMask snap.
That's a big deal.
We're progressing. Yeah.
So did is that something that ZecHub was a part of? Do you like help fund these kind of developments, or like how does that work?
No. So we really do much smaller. It's a small bounties program.
Okay.
Yeah. So the larger projects are primarily funded through the Zcash community grants program, and so yeah, those are things like Zcash shielded assets, like these mega projects, or yeah, MetaMask, Snap, or things like that.
We also actually have a project, I think, under that, under Zcash Foundation grant, which is an integration, like a mixed integration to Zcash. I'm not sure of the technical details. I'm not a very technical guy, unfortunately. But if you want, you can watch our deep dive with Max. Maybe Salazar, you can dig up a link to that. It was a previous community call with Max. Yeah, that's actually a pretty exciting project, and I can't wait to finally start using it. Now, a quick question: what gets me really excited about ZecHub is your bounties and smaller scale grants. Obviously, we're trying to do something similar here in the NIM community under the NIM Squad League framework. So you mentioned a few things that people contribute via ZecHub, but such as graphic design and stuff like that. But can you go into a bit more detail? What kind of stuff do you do with the community?
Right. So we also host events, and so like we invite other projects to join us with like Zeely quests and have quizzes and things like that. Some of the more recent things we've done is launch like a global ambassador program. So I think our most recent accepted proposal was Zcash Arabia. And so he was super interested in Zcash. He was passionate about the project. And so he submitted a proposal. We have a Cosmos DAO. You can go to vote.zechub.xyz and view all of our proposals and the 20 DAO members that we have so far. And so, yeah, we invite people to like become ambassadors or to host events in their own countries, like promoting not just Zcash, but just like privacy awareness in general. Many of the people that are a part of the ZecHub community are in places like Nigeria, where they have a central bank digital currency, they have e-Naira, and they're facing a lot of problems like getting cash from their own bank accounts. And so we all know that crypto usage in Nigeria is like the most in the world, I think, or top two at least. And so like bringing it to those communities that actually need it, that's part of what we do. And if they can earn Zcash and contribute to the Zcash community, then it's great.
Excellent. Well,
Nice. Have you go on, Sudo?
We also do events here in the NIM community and the NIM Squad League, so I can actually see some NIM community members who are organizing quite a few events. So that's Rocio, for example, and Beyond, and a bunch of others. So this is like a very nice way to contribute to such a decentralized project. Now, I want to just bring something up. This is not only for us to discuss here on stage, but also for you guys in chat. So let us know what you think. Obviously, like I said, we've been speaking with ZecHub and Zcash for a bit before this call, so this has been brewing for a while. One of the things that we mentioned that we could do were actual shared grants between ZecHub and NSL. So I'm asking both you, community members, if you have any ideas, but also you, Squirrel, what would you like to see happen in the shared grants framework?
Well, it'd be pretty interesting to see people Zcashers running NIM nodes. I think that would be a pretty interesting thing, and like people who participate in this can earn Zec and NIM at the same time. That's something I'd like to see. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, if they're already familiar with running infrastructure, then it's like a logical step to run a NIM node too, I think. And maybe vice versa from our community.
Yeah. Yeah, Zcash nodes. We have a Zebra launcher, and so you can like set up a server, and it's literally like a one-click thing. It just takes probably 5 days for the node to sync.
How come? Why is that?
Only 5 days.
Yeah. Only a week.
Why is that? How come it takes 5 days?
Well, it's an interesting story. I think it was in 2022, May of 2022, Zcash upgraded. There was network upgrade 5, NE5, which activated the Orchard protocol, this like super advanced, trustless ZK snark proving system. And so, yeah, we launched Orchard, and then shortly afterwards, someone came onto the network and began spamming shielded transactions. And because of the way our fee structure was, they were able to fill blocks at almost zero cost. And this continued for several months until our fee structure was corrected to account for the number of actions that you're submitting in a transaction. If it's several actions, it's a proportional fee to the number of actions. So now you pay for block space, essentially.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know you're doing something right if you get an attack. Do you have any other information about that spam attack? Do you think it was personal, or do you think it was more political, like maybe a political entity?
I couldn't say. I don't know.
Just what's your it's conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy theory,
Exactly.
but it's just cool to talk about.
Like the great thing about Zcash is we'll never know who did it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, there's several theories out there. The attack itself doesn't affect user privacy at all. I doubt it was a state actor, but it's possible.
Wow, wild. See, here on the community call, you learn new things that you maybe heard about, but were unclear about. This is why we have this show. You know, I was wondering something, and I think for the NIM community, I was also thinking about like, what is the ZecHub meme? Like, what's the meme of the community? You know, like what's one of the, it could be a slogan or a picture that like people like to use that reappears a lot. You know, I think for NIM for a while, we had the one, they don't know, this one where the guy's at the party, it says something at the top, like they don't know I'm securing the most private network in the world by running a nib node or something like this, so that one was popular for a while. And I think, that's always an emergent thing, but what's one of the, ZecHub or Zcash memes?
Yeah, we make one of the Zcash memes. Well, I guess our slogan is unstoppable private money. And it appears in several different ways. Another one is privacy is normal, which is kind of proliferated across everywhere.
Did you guys did you guys start that one?
Yeah, it was Chris Tomeo from ECC. He made the first poster.
I didn't know where it came from, but it's such an excellent and really powerful way of summarizing the message, behind privacy tech. So I absolutely love that one. Sorry, I interrupted, Skrill. Go ahead.
No worries.
Yeah.
Those are kind of our main two.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So there's Amir Taki. He's of course dug in on it, and he said privacy isn't normal, privacy is exceptional, which is also good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there was
but it's good that we have discussions like this about like, what's the message and like what are we fighting for and stuff. But privacy is normal it did become a meme, and I do see a lot of these I call them privacy statements, that are used on social media like that. I've done some. We have privacy loves company, because the more people that use a network, the more private it is.
Right.
Like if only a few Zcash freaks use Zcash, even with shielded, that doesn't help anything.
Right.
So
yeah, privacy loves company. I like that one as well. There was a DarkFi Memetics blog post, and it kind of explained their reasoning behind why privacy isn't normal. It's exceptional, and I kind of see you can see it both ways. Yeah, like naturally.
Yeah, I read that too. I read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah, it's just I think it's a good discussion. Just different way to look at it. But what's good is the privacy is normal. Just really quick. The privacy is normal meme was so good that it got such a big reaction that he made a whole essay with
The
like, a bunch of
anti-position.
memes. So that's good. We need this. No, yeah, but that gets everything flowing.
Yeah.
You need that, So that's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Sudo?
I just wanted to add. Sorry, I think there's a bit of a delay, which makes like the conversation somewhat awkward. But I just wanted to add that when it comes to sort of the philosophy and the memetics of privacy and the tech and lunar and solar and all of that stuff, I think Rose from DarkFi is probably one of the best people. Like her talks and her writings are absolutely excellent. So if you guys want to deep dive into the lunar punk movement and just like understanding the fight for privacy from a memetic perspective, then make sure to check her out. I'm not sure if Salazar can find more obscure talks, but I have a really good one from Rose, and after the call is over, I'm gonna leave it as a pinned comment under the video on YouTube, so you can check it out.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. And now I actually have to mention something that I already mentioned to you and while we were hanging out preparing for the call. Your t-shirt coloring, friend, is absolutely excellent.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
Zcash and Nim.
Exactly, and Scroll tells us that it was intentional, and I believe him. It really looks like the exact color code of the new Nim green since the rebrand. So
Yeah.
good job, friend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a strange coincidence. I had a Nim green shirt.
Actually, this is a note for
Nice.
for Pablo, our designer. Maybe we should, instead of the black t-shirts, we should do these greens, and then have some nice Nim designs on them.
Yeah, I took a look through the Nim merch store. You guys, I want to get the one with the like the smiley face on the back. Yeah, you guys have great merch. Nice one.
That's an epic one. That's
Thanks, yeah.
what everybody wants. It's been around for such a long time. We've rebranded, I think, twice since it was created, but still, it's a huge community favorite. The smiley face. What is a Zcash merch like? And does ZecHub has its own merch?
It does. So you can go to ZechHub.store, and currently we only accept shielded Zcash. But yeah, we've got a bunch of Zcash designs, some designs which were given to us by the Electric Coin Company. There's the Zcash Foundation, Zcon 6 design, if you still want one of those. Yeah, bunch of stuff there.
We did mention that
Nice.
hopefully upcoming shared grant between ZecHub and the Nim Squad League. We could create some limited edition merch,
Oh,
for that.
nice.
That would be pretty awesome, no?
Yes. Smiley face on the back, Zcash on the front, something like that.
Exactly. You heard
Yeah.
it here first, ladies
That
and
sounds
gentlemen.
really good. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Heard it here first. Okay, well, before we get into the questions from the community and see what they say, because I think we've got a lot of good ones so far. And if you're watching, go ahead and ask some questions. Yeah, so just tell, like, yeah, what are, I think you told, I mean, you told at the beginning, but what are some of the goals that ZecHub has, like, in the near future? Like, what are some of the projects that you can tell it, some of the bounties where you're like, hell yeah, this is like a real good one, or we really want to do this one?
Okay, so we've recently received a grant to work with Penumbra. And so many of the most interesting things I think we're going to be, or bounties we're going to be posting in the next couple of weeks are going to be around like interacting with Penumbra. So that's the main thing. Our aim, like our long-term aim, is like to become this shielded ecosystem hub where, in fact, at the moment, if you go into the ZecHub Discord server, we have a portal to the Penumbra Discord server, and we're in, like, it's in progress, but we're trying to get a portal to the Nomada server as well. And so, like, we think ZecHub is going to become this way that these shielded communities can talk with each other, like discuss, I don't know, like if a certain application has this like privacy issue or things like that, like coordinate with each other. Yeah, in terms of cool bounties, it depends who you like, what your preferences are. There's some people who really, really like doing research articles. Some people tend to prefer like making posters or animated videos. Like, I couldn't say what's the best.
Okay, cool. So there's a wide range for all of you listening if you want to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And NSL has also,
exactly.
yeah,
I
Suda.
I want to say two things. First of all, Penumbra is dope. Penumbra is awesome. So it's lovely to hear that you guys are collaborating. If you don't know about Penumbra, guys, make sure to check it out. It's I think it's one of the coolest projects in the privacy space. Definitely worth checking out. And the other thing is, I think when it comes to uh, such a like a grants or bounty program that both of us are going for, um, the like flexibility is key, right? There are so many different personas in this space. There are the more technical people. There are people who specialize in operating infrastructure. There are
Right.
people who are more the meme lords, and they are really good at capturing the complexity of such an interesting topic as privacy in a single meme. All of those have a place, and in such like I think a well designed um, grants program should cater to all of those. For this reason, we actually have in the NIM Squad League, and I'm curious if you guys have an equivalent. We have what we call covert missions, which basically are not even we don't define what they are. The community can come and suggest or propose something, and then if it's a great project, then they get support for it. Do you have something equivalent?
Yeah. So the way we structure our bounties is through dwork. And so dwork has a button where you can create a task suggestion. Just today, someone made a suggestion. They found that on several of the links on our wiki site, the URL preview doesn't show like the correct information for that specific URL. And so they said, "Hey, can I fix this?" And it was like, "Great, do it." And so yeah, we're able to take task suggestions, but the biggest thing that I would recommend is for people, if they want to do a larger project, make a DAO proposal. We just got a proposal in this morning. Someone said he wanted to uh, host an event, a 6-hour long event in a university in Nigeria. And great proposal. We'll see what the DAO members think.
Excellent. Next up, I actually have
Nice.
it's a bit of a change of topic, but I was super curious to hear your thoughts on this and maybe just the general vibe in the Zcash community. So, um, from where I'm sitting, private transactions are absolutely crucial. So for these technologies that we're all promoting and evangelizing here, decentralized tech and crypto and all of that. Um, in my eyes, can probably not succeed with at least some kind of privacy.
Yeah.
Because if I told you that you can get a credit card from a bank, but if you get this credit card, then anywhere you pay with this credit card, the person receiving the payment can look at your entire transaction history from the creation of your credit card, your balance, how your balance changed, all of that stuff. It would be absurd, right? I would not. I would probably laugh you out of the room. But this is how most blockchains work today when it comes to transactions, right? So
Yeah.
I am big on private transactions. But on the other hand, we see a whole bunch of regulatory scrutiny, delistings of Monero and Zcash, all of the recent events. What's your take on this? Where do you think this is going? And do you think that eventually private transactions and blockchains which provide proper privacy will succeed and be victorious, or are you afraid of the regulatory environment?
I'm so the it changes. I think, I don't know, previous administration had this super imposing like view, uh, or at least in the US. In the EU, MICA already went through. And so this required centralized exchanges to identify the address where the source address in which deposits are arriving. For Zcash, so that's what led Monero to be delisted from Binance, and a bunch of other exchanges. So there's this common misconception that Zcash wasn't delisted from Binance or some of the other major exchanges because there's a backdoor or because nobody uses shielded transactions. It's completely false. So yeah, there's this MiCA thing. It means exchanges need to know where funds are coming from. Because Zcash has a shielded protocol and a transparent protocol, it actually allows wallets such as Zashi to send your shielded funds to an ephemeral transparent address, and then it hops into the exchange. So you're not giving up any of your privacy, but the exchanges still get the meaningless address that they're looking for. That's one thing. I do see that similar to how in the 90s they were trying, the government was US government was trying to ban encryption. They wanted to put backdoors into people's home modems. It turns out that the cypherpunks were right, and that shouldn't happen. Encryption should be like code is free speech, essentially. And I think that will happen again. I think it has to happen again because, like you said, if there's any business use case,
it is happening again, very much so, all the time. If you follow the news, yeah. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, like with HTTP, like at early 2000s, if you might remember, all of the websites you were visiting, if you had another device on the network, like it was all in plain text. And so now everyone uses HTTPS. And in fact, like encryption is required. If you're a government employee, you must be using some of these encrypted standards. I see that as being where cryptocurrency is headed, where privacy is actually a necessity. Like for one of the big things I'm interested in looking into is how many home invasions or like thefts, robberies, kidnappings have happened because people's crypto addresses are publicly available. I'm guessing that the rate at which those things are happening is rising, and so yeah, I think people are beginning to wake up to the whole thing.
Yeah. Another thing to mention here is that, you know, it is a really nice curve or like arc how this happened. Encryption from basically being a huge boogie monster, using encryption um, was considered to be exporting weapons in the States before, of course, the activism of cypherpunks like highlighted and showed very plainly how stupid that is.
Yeah.
And then we got all of these little locks everywhere, and like you said, HTTPS is now required everywhere, basically. But what not a lot of people talk about, and what I think will also happen with crypto, probably, if privacy becomes similarly basic as it did from the perspective of the general internet, is the fact that you know e-commerce, Amazon, and the gazillion web shops that we now take for granted, and where we order all our stuff basically and expect it to be here yesterday. All of that stuff was enabled by these little locks. Without encryption, if encryption remained illegal, which it was, it would not be possible to basically move commerce to the internet, which is one of the big quality of life improvements that happened, and a bunch of value was created in the economy through this process, right? And I think we don't know right now from this perspective, like looking into the future, what this big tech that is going to be enabled by proper privacy is going to be. But there are like these big technologies that are waiting to happen if privacy is a given, and I can't wait to see what those are going to be.
Yeah, I was so recently I had someone called Million, and he's from the Archeum project, and so they call this. I had him on the ZecHub podcast, and he was discussing his project Archeum, and it's an encrypted supercomputer, and so the idea behind that is they're using like I guess TEEs and multi-party computation to like securely and in a decentralized fashion process like data for business use cases. Some examples he gave me is like 23andMe. I don't know if you've recently seen, but like they went under, and suddenly millions of people's DNA, like genetics, are like given to who knows who. And so like yeah, I think privacy is we're moving away from this centralized database where you're giving up all your data to like a paradigm where you own your data and you expect it to be you can provably verify that it's being processed like privately. Um, you mentioned that uh, that encryption was deemed like a munition, a firearm, or whatever, and like that whole problem was solved by very a small group of cypherpunks, and one of them like was David Chaum, and he wrote this paper or an article, and it's called "Security Without Identification: Transaction Systems to Make Big Brother Obsolete." And then there's like a small bit of text underneath. The large-scale automated transaction systems of the near future can be designed to protect the privacy and maintain the security of both individuals and organizations. So that doesn't sound like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but there are other systems that people can use. Just to circle back to the very beginning, the question Theo had, what are the challenges Zcash has at the moment? Like it needs to be easy for people to use um, for it to get any usage. Um, but for the committed few out there who understand like what needs to happen, I think just like download a Zcash wallet and start trying it out.
Yeah. Amen. Actually, I just recently saw a tweet from Mikola, who's with Web3 Privacy Now. I'm sure you're aware of him. And the point was that UX is basically more important than the product.
Yeah.
And although this sounds, a bit saddening, but also it's true. So if you want to achieve mass adoption, then it's probably the most important thing for like the widest possible range of people being able to use your thing without maybe even noticing that they are using it. Integrated into like
Yes.
baked into a bunch of super user friendly. Very like key ready sort of solutions. That's definitely the future, and I'm glad to hear this from Zcash, because if you have this mindset over there, then you're sticking around, and that's lovely to hear.
Of course. And um, I re-listened to the NIM VPN launch a couple of times. The speech by Chelsea Manning was like quite quite important. I liked it a lot. The message there was so like I just read this paper which mentions Big Brother, but I think the point she was trying to get at is that maybe that's not exactly what the real fight is against. Maybe it's against all the companies that are taking your data and selling it and kind of manipulating you through, I don't know, like there's when you scroll through Twitter or Instagram or whatever, there's some behavioral modification where they're actually um, changing your emotional state. Like it's some really um, villainous things, right? And there was if you're interested to learn more about it, there's a Zcash Media um, like short video which they made. I think it's like 30 minutes long, and it goes into how these things like Facebook are changing your emotions using the data that they gather on you. Um, that's what NIM's for, by the way. If anyone's wondering, you can protect yourself against these things. Yeah.
That is very well said. Maybe Salazar could dig up a link. Do you know the title of this piece? Uh,
Let me find it now.
Amazing. If you drop it here in the private chat, we can share it with the community. I haven't seen it, so I'll be the first one in line to watch it.
Nice.
And while you're
Yeah.
looking
So,
while you're looking for it, sorry, Theo, I'll hand over in just one second. But I wanted to also invite everybody from the audience to look into the 23andMe debacle, because that is really, I think, a window into a possible, like, really dystopian future. It's a really scary story. How, if your social security number is stolen, it's very bad, right? It's very, very bad. Your identity could be stolen based on that, but you can still change your social security number. If your DNA is out there, there's no way back from that. You can't. You literally can't
yeah.
change it. It's
No, I'm
Although
way too
there is
paranoid to send my. I mean, I'm curious. I'm very curious. You know what I mean? But I am. People they get their DNA tested and they send me a link, and it's like, and it has this presentation like you're such and such percent this, whoa percent, and they're like, whoa, I
yeah,
didn't
it's
know
like,
that.
oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know
I'm
that.
like, oh, that's
Yeah,
actually really
exactly.
interesting. But then I'm like, wow, not only do they have this data on me, I mean, it's right now conspiracy theory. What if they make a clone of me, or they do like some other weird stuff, which sounds crazy now, but you know what I mean? Like, we've seen crazy,
Yeah.
we see how fast things are coming, or they make some kind of AI digital version based on my DNA that's so close you cannot tell it's not Theo. That's scary as hell, So
Yeah, the cloning is scary. I think what scares me is the possibility that someone uses AI, some of these neural networks, to take they could target a bioweapon towards people of a specific heritage.
Oh man,
That's
that is
scary.
really scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep your
Yeah.
DNA is also your personal data, everybody. That's our message. Uh, the only
Yep.
tool to protect it is not give it up for now, I guess. But
yeah.
uh, but yeah, don't do that. I think that we should go to some of the community questions because there's some good ones. So
Yep.
let's start
Let's jump
highlighting
into it.
some of those. Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that, your browsing history is one thing. It's already kind of embarrassing if it gets out. But if your entire lineage, going back to like a few 100,000 years, gets out there, that's a different story entirely. With you, there are the starred questions. Oh, okay, that was Salazar. Yeah, let's jump into the community questions. Big thanks for the questions. Lovely chat so far, by the way, gentlemen. So thanks for that as well. First question is from Jason. Are Zcash payments completely untraceable?
Yes. Although there are things to consider. So we're talking about slogans, right? An important slogan to keep in your mind, no matter which privacy tool you're using, which privacy currency. It doesn't matter if it's Zcash or Monero or Decred or whatever. There is no such thing as privacy, or money in flight is not private. So keep that in mind. Let's say you buy Zcash on an exchange, and you take the exchange knows how much you bought, right? So you take it and you shield it, and then you send it to someone else, and that other person sells it to, let's say, a different exchange. This mode of usage isn't exactly completely untraceable, right? So there are certain things that you can do, like to de-anonymize even fully shielded transactions. So if there's on Zcash, there's a transparent protocol. And so if you take Zec from the transparent protocol, shield it, and then unshield it in a short period of time, it's possible to see the two ends. The way to use Zcash in which it is completely untraceable is to, again, you buy it from an exchange or from a DEX or a non-custodial exchange, and you keep it shielded. So keep your funds shielded for a good period of time. And when you then spend your Zec, it'll be completely untraceable. So there's no determining feature of that transaction that can be identified to. I hope that made sense.
Absolutely. Thanks for that great answer, and thanks for the good question, Jason, as usual. Next up is from Rocio. Question is, which is the most challenging thing about talking about privacy in environments where surveillance is validated? Like,
Right.
I guess what she means is probably the default, or like surveillance is widespread, I guess.
Yeah, that's the most challenging thing is like putting yourself out there and like speaking truth to power. um of course, yeah, just if it is something that you're going to do, um then like make sure that you're secure, right? Um make sure that you're secure in what you're doing, I suppose. That's my best advice.
Yeah,
But it is a challenge, yeah.
it is definitely a challenge. What I'd add here is that I will find that Rose talk, and I will pin it in the comments because it's very relevant here as well. Um, I, in this talk, she mentions, which I really agree with, and I think it's a really like valid take. The bad people do bad things meme really won, and we're still yet to, as like the general space of people who care about privacy and develop technologies to preserve individual privacy. It's still up to us to find the counter meme that is just as powerful. It really does look like uh, when you speak to a normie about when I speak to a normie, to many of my friends and family about NIM, right? I explain what the technology does. I explain how it works, and that it doesn't make any like exceptions. It is just private for everyone in a bulletproof way, basically. What like 70, 60, 70% of the time they ask, but what about bad people doing bad things? It's such a pervasive um, narrative that we just have to find really good ways of countering it.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I was thinking about this recently. Bad people will always do bad things. Um like if we're thinking about cavemen, and some caveman invented fire, and then all the other cavemen are like, no, he's going to burn our village down and we need to get rid of the fire. And so the same is true with like any technology in which um my favorite example is like nuclear nukes. So you can use nuclear energy to create a bomb or to power a city. And so far, not too many nukes have gone off, right? I think most people are just like acceptable, right? We tend to want to live with each other in peace. Um, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's uninvent the wheel, because it's also down the line. Wheels are going to be used on cars, and cars are going to speed and hit people.
Right.
So we have to uninvent the wheel and ban it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. It is very ridiculous. Very good point. Thanks for the question, Rocio. Next up is also from Rocio. Zcash is a great community in Spanish. What is the advice for growing in other regions?
Hey, great question. The best advice that I could give you is create a DAO proposal. So go to vote.zechub.xyz and you can create a proposal to become an ambassador in your region. So we've recently had a proposal from Zcash Arabia, someone from Zcash Korea, and there was an event which was held in Nigeria. So if you're interested in growing Zcash in your region, you could even visit the ZecHub Discord. So discord.gg/Zcash.
Maybe we could drop a link to that in the chat, Salazar, please. Thanks for the answer, and thanks for another great question, Rocio. Next up is also from Jason. Is it, and I guess by it he means a Zcash, legal in the US?
Builded Zcash is legal in the US. So if you go onto Gemini, you can withdraw to a shielded address. And so, yeah, shielded Zcash is perfectly legal. Privacy is normal.
Privacy is normal. Can you please explain the difference between shielded Zcash and non-shielded Zcash?
Okay, so there are 3 payment protocols on Zcash. There is the transparent protocol, which works just like Bitcoin. There's the sapling protocol, which is shielded. And there's the orchard protocol, which is shielded. Shielded means when you make a transaction to another shielded address, the amount that you're transacting, the addresses that you're transacting are not known. So it doesn't reveal any of your private data when you send from a shielded address to another shielded address. You can send your ZEC from a shielded address to a transparent address and back in any denomination. So the 3 payment protocols are all connected and it's all permissionless. I guess that was that
Privacy
okay?
is normal, indeed.
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. All right. Sorry, guys. I removed my laptop from my table. Just 1 second. Yeah. Can you still hear me and see me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, good. Whew. All right. So next up is from RimJ. Thanks for a great question. I want to know the best place to start about my first Zcash transaction and how to do it properly.
Okay. Well, go to the App Store or the Play Store and download Zashi app or Zingo wallet or Y wallet. You can view all of the Zcash wallets at zechub.wiki/wallets. It lists all of the wallet features. If there's anything in particular that you're more fond of, you can download that specific wallet. But let's say you download Zashi app. Then you can go to zecfaucet.com and you can request for free a small amount of Zcash. And then you could go onto Twitter or YouTube or wherever and leave a comment for someone to. I think some Zcaches have their shielded address in their profile, so you can start communicating with people. Zcash doesn't just send value; you can also send encrypted messages with your transactions. So it's a great way to like talk with people. Transaction fees are like 0.0001 ZEC, so it's have fun.
Excellent. Thanks for that answer. Next up is from Diana. Thanks for a great question. How can you easily explain, can you easily explain how ZK snark works?
Okay, so I could try. I'm not a like a cryptographer or anything. So a very basic explanation. On Bitcoin, we have UTXOs. When people make transactions, let's say you have 5 BTC in your wallet and you send someone 3 BTC, the transaction will contain 5 BTC and 3 BTC will go to the, it'll be one output and the other output will be the 2 BTC back to yourself. So all of these transactions that happened are organized into blocks and those blocks form a Merkle tree. And so if you have a Bitcoin node, you can look at all the transactions all the way back to the genesis at the top of the tree. Right? Okay. Zcash allows people to transfer ZEC with complete privacy. And the way it does that is the amounts are held in your device. And your device generates a proof which is submitted to the network. The proof relies on polynomials. So these are like algebraic expressions, and there's an arithmetic circuit. So imagine that as like a DAG, directed acyclic graph. So it kind of looks like a Merkle tree on its side where I couldn't do it. So yeah, you have this arithmetic circuit, and at each point on the node, there are like multiplication. There's multiplication happening, or addition, or subtraction. And so the prover takes the private data, i.e. the amount, and they put it through this arithmetic circuit, and then they run it through a commitment scheme. And so that's like a one-way hash function, which allows this data to be like fully encrypted, so that the verifier can't see the inputs, right? Yeah, I don't want to get too much into the weeds. You also have like an interactive oracle. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I
Okay.
thought that was it.
No. So you have an interactive oracle, which allows the verifier to check this commitment scheme at different points. And so when all this is done, the verifier is able to confirm that the prover has those funds available, without revealing what the amount, like what the amounts were. So there's all this complicated maths that secures the amounts which you hold and the addresses which you're sending to. And at the other end, we have a proof which is broadcast across the network to all the nodes, which are able to verify it. So they have the amounts and they're able to spend it. We don't know the address it's going to, but it's a valid transaction according to all the rules of consensus. And so this proof is submitted to the network with a nullifier that shows that this money has not been spent. And so on Zcash, there's in the same way Bitcoin has a Merkle tree, Zcash has a note commitment tree, which contains all these nullifiers, which prevent double spending on the network, but still allow people to transact privately. So that's my best. It's the best I could do.
Reliable way to make me feel like an absolute idiot. You know, it's just start talking to me about, start explaining to me, and it's just crazy how much complexity is like latent in all of these systems that we're taking for granted.
Exactly. Like here's the thing: the hard part is done. The scientists made the technology. They made it possible for us to transact privately on the internet, across the globe. So this tech is here, and we should use it.
Exactly. Amen. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You just have to use it. TM. Next up and last up, this is hopefully all of the questions were starred, but this is the last one I see, and we're actually just in time for this one. So really good timing, ladies and gentlemen. This one is also from Rocio. I'm sure there are excellent Zcash ambassadors, but for someone who doesn't know about Zcash, who do you recommend to follow?
Zero dots. Yeah, so you can follow Zcash community, Zcash_community. Follow at Decentralist Dan. Follow at Zuko. He's a great one. Follow at J Swihart. Yeah, there are a bunch of accounts. In fact, my suggestion is to go to ZecHub.substack.com, and that's where our newsletter is. And every week we post the best tweets and posts from across the ecosystem. And so you can pick out all the accounts from our newsletter.
I left the link to the ZecHub Substack, so make sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this community call. We're out of time, unfortunately. Theo, we've been speaking way too much, so I'll let you do the honors of wrapping up.
No, it's all good. No, it's all good. I speak a lot. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thanks, Squirrel, for coming. Thanks to ZecHub, anyone in the chat. And but that's not all. There's going to be more to come. Something is brewing in the background. And someone commented that I'm disappearing into the Beverly Hills mansion. That's because I'm disappearing into the noise of the network. This is this
Nice.
concept that we have. Yeah, see, look, check this out. I'm in the network noise right now as we speak. And yeah, we look forward to working with ZecHub. I think it makes total sense. And this is one of the reasons NIM was created, to help, crypto transactions, whether it's Zcash or whatever else, get network level privacy. That's one of the real basic use cases that was clear from the very beginning, to put a crypto transaction that doesn't need extremely high latency, extremely fast connection like a HD YouTube video makes complete sense to put through the mixnet and add network level privacy. And Sudo has been doing a crazy job with the NSL and NSL plus ZecHub. That makes complete sense. So I really see a lot of big potential here. And yeah, thanks everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That was the official, not unofficial wrap, because you know that one more thing still has to happen, which is
Oh yeah, we have the POAP.
Exactly,
I forgot the POAP.
But
Yeah.
before we get to the POAP, I want to say that Zuko was mentioned. Make sure to look up Zuko. Really interesting dude. And a bit of lore for you guys. Harry, NIM CEO, and Zuko go way back. They're good friends. So when Theo says there's more to come, more collaborations between Zcash and NIM, you better believe it. Who knows? Maybe the next call that Rocio is requesting so nicely, maybe we'll have some extra special guests. All right, with all of that said,
actually, why don't we just do it? We'll just do a covert call with no bounty. Everybody here, just go on Twitter and tag Harry Haplin and Zuko and be like, guys, we want to have you on a Spaces or a call or whatever. Yeah. So that's your secret covert mission with absolutely no bounty, but it has a good result.
Well, the bounty is the call actually happening in the very near future. So I think that's a reward
exactly.
in and of itself. All right, that's very exciting stuff. We're really looking forward to hanging out more. And it was lovely to meet you, Squirrel. Big thanks for taking the time to jump on today. And now there's nothing else left to do than to give you your POAP, which is a bit of a tradition here at NIM. So if you come to these community calls, we commemorate you being here with us with a special NFT. Every single time. So you need to go to the usual place, which is nim.com/go/POAP. And the secret phrase is, drum roll, it is zips. Do you want to say a few words about zips, Squirrel? What are they?
Zcash improvement proposals.
Exactly.
So you can go to zips.z.cash and check out the zips.
Yep. Or maybe even raise one of your own, I guess, right?
Yes, you can create a zip.
Right. Excellent.
Nice.
Big thanks again, both the audience and my beautiful co-host and our beautiful guest. It was lovely to hang out with you guys. The recording of this community call will be available on the NIM YouTube. See you next week at the exact same time, exact same place. And